Hello there, Colin here, and it's lovely to have you waiting like a coiled spring to jump into the audio world of Doctor Who. So, let me invite you into the TARDIS. I feel truly lucky to have played and still be playing the Doctor, not only on television, but on stage. And, of course, on audio. And what adventures I've had. Now, with old Sixie and those other incarnations bringing so many fresh adventures to your ears, we thought we should delve into just a small sample. So, here we are with this podcast. It gets better, though, because the cast you saw on TV is the cast you'll hear once you start listening. And there's plenty which is familiar and plenty which is new, as you'll hear. This week it's time for part 2 of Wave of Destruction. If you missed part 1, in the best traditions of time travel, you can go back and listen to that now. But if you can't wait to get started, then let me bring you up to speed. A modulated frequency wave cancellation signal isn't something the Doctor and Romana expected to detect in 1960s London. But then they don't expect to find Professor Lanchester, the man who invented it, lying unconscious, or MI5 investigating, or his daughter Jill, scared and hiding, with Secret Agent Miller revealing that Lanchester had warned of an invasion. The Doctor and Miller set off to look for anything that might lead to them finding the mystery assailants and being able to foil any would-be invaders' plans of conquest. Romana, meanwhile, much to her annoyance, gets stuck on a shoe-shopping expedition with Jill. In the course of his investigations, the Doctor wonders where the pirate radio station, Radio Frantic, with its incredibly catchy jingles, fits in, and sets off in the TARDIS to pay it a visit. The Doctor meets Mark, the DJ, who just so happens to be Lanchester's nephew, who now reveals that the Professor doesn't have a daughter, much less one called Jill. She's an imposter, a fact that Romana has already learned as she plays a game of cat and mouse with the mystery woman. Learning that part of what Lanchester was working on and why MI5 are so interested was an early warning system. The Doctor discovers they are facing an old enemy, ones that can make use of frequencies and signals that the early warning system and radio transmissions use. The Vardens. Hoping to move quickly to recover a tape that Lanchester gave to Mark the DJ that contains the means of stopping them, the radio station's engineer reveals himself to be a Varden. Once again, the Doctor is confronting death. Now you're ready to surf that wave. I'll be back at the end of the episode with some behind-the-scenes content. Meantime, here's part 2 of Wave of Destruction. A nice little throw forward and backwards at the same time to unit at the end there, which isn't confusing at all, eh? And I'm willing to bet that try as hard as you might, you'll catch yourself singing the Radio Frantic jingle later. Now, let's go behind the scenes with producer David Richardson alongside some other vital production team members.
We're not sailing on the Atlantic. Here on the channel, it's Radio Frantic. Radio Frantic.
Hello, my name's David Richardson. I'm the producer of the Fourth Doctor Adventures.
Hello, I'm Nick Briggs, and I'm the executive producer of Big Finish and the director of The Wave of Destruction.
My name's Justin Richards, and I wrote
wave of destruction.
Well, that's settled then. You head for the shoe shops while Mr. Miller and I patronise the electrical emporium.
Patronise is about right.
I'll get an address.
I am not going shoe shopping.
It's been interesting working on these Fourth Doctor adventures because we started off with the Doctor and Leela, and then Series 2 was the Doctor, the first Romana and K-9. We went back to the Doctor and Leela for Series 3. Series 4 was the Doctor, Leela and K-9. And now we're with the second Romana. And it's given us really 4 different eras of the Fourth Doctor's lifetime that we've had to explore. And they've all been eras that, for both Nick and myself, were very, very important to us. I mean, that was the time when we were really growing up and loving Doctor Who. So it's been a chance to visit that magical period when we first fell in love with the show.
Regarding the flavour of this era, I think that Justin Richards has really encapsulated it well, actually, with the dialogue between the Doctor and Romana. It's right. It's beautifully done, and it is. It really did strike me doing this because I have 2 scripts yet to write for this season, and so I'm learning from this sort of Justin's reinvention of that era of Doctor Who. It's reminding me what I should do because I'm very au fait with it because I was like 16, 17 years old when this. When Lalla Ward and Tom Baker were on television.
I've done 2 now for the Fourth Doctor and Leela, and this was pitched to me as second Romana, so it's obviously later in the Fourth Doctor's tenure, and a much lighter. I was asked for something set around about the same time as City of Death and sort of the same tone. I mean, you're never going to, unless you are brilliant like Douglas Adams, you're not going to emulate that or come close. But it was fun, particularly the first couple of scenes, just setting up that relationship between the Doctor and Romana. After that, they're not together in the story so much. You have to split it up to keep the story moving in all sorts of directions. But it was nice to have that little sort of family, Doctor and Romana and K-9, all together in their house at the beginning.
I mean, it was just like when writing for Mary Tam, having Romana there, she's as clever as the Doctor and sometimes cleverer. So you can whiz the plot on a little bit more because she can. It's like having K9 as well, he's clever. You've got a team of 3 really clever people who are going to solve situations a lot quicker, rather than have companions who don't know, who maybe get isolated from the Doctor and don't know what to do and make all sorts of mistakes and mess things up. Romana and K9 are probably not going to do that, even when they're separated from the Doctor. But you're right, it is a completely different flavour. And it was, while I was recording today, I thought, oh God, this, because I was doing a Leela one earlier in the week, and I thought, oh my God, this is completely different. Yeah, this is interesting. And interesting as well how Tom absolutely hits the different style with his performance too. The moment he's saying Romana, suddenly it triggers something else in him. It's great.
And so the vortex beckons, and where will we be next time? It's the turn of my predecessor in a story that, if you blink, you might miss it. 2015, when sightseers Joel and Gabby Finch encounter a strange man in Edwardian cricketing garb in the Sistine Chapel, and their honeymoon suddenly takes a terrifying turn. 1511. Michelangelo is commissioned to create some very special sculptures by a mysterious sect, but as he carves, angels seem to emerge fully formed from the rock, almost as if they are alive. From Michelangelo's workshop to the catacombs of Rome, the Fifth Doctor must keep his wits about him and his eyes open as he confronts the weeping angels. Make a date in your diary to confront the fallen angels as you join me on our next outing, as once again, you and I go into the TARDIS. For the continuing audio adventures of Old Sixie, along with other classic and new series Who, plus podcasts and much more, be sure to visit www.bigfinish.com. You've been listening to Into the TARDIS, hosted by me, Colin Baker, and produced by Ian Meadows. Supervising producer was Lizzie Wursdell, and executive producers are Nicholas Briggs and Jason Hay-Gallery.